So good evening, everyone, and welcome. We're going to get started here with our Hartt Dance virtual open house. Things are looking a little different these days, but that doesn't take away from the performance and theatrics of the Hartt School. So during this session, we're just going to welcome you in. I want to just raise your attention. You can add questions into the chat or the Q&A feature. We'll be monitoring those throughout. And this is a time for you. We're a resource for you. We want to welcome you into the Hartt School, specifically the dance program, and answer all of those questions you may have about what we're doing today in our dance program, to what's it like to be a student, to what auditions are going to be looking like this year. Just some quick introductions. We have Robin James from the Bates House, which is our admission department here at the University of Hartford, because the Hartt School is a school underneath the University of Hartford umbrella. So you'll be applying through University of Hartford. We have Sydney, Kylie, and Marielle, who are joining us, and they are current dance students here. And of course, we have the illustrious Professor Stephen Peer, who's the director of our dance program. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Professor Peer. And if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate in asking. That's exactly what this time is for. So thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I wish I could see your faces. I'm sorry I can't, because I'm sure you're all wonderful to look at. And I also want to make sure and invite you to, as Margaret just said, to ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. We would love that. That's why we're here. And so let's try to get connected as best we can through this medium, and through what seems sort of like a one-way medium for us, because we're just sitting here looking at each other, which is also wonderful, because look at these three wonderful dancers we have here. So I want to tell you a little bit about the program. It's a small program. It's very focused program. We have 2 degrees, ballet pedagogy and dance performance. What's especially unique about the ballet pedagogy program is that the students in that program are not only studying to be teaching artists, they're also studying to be performing artists, because we believe very strongly that you better be able to walk your talk. So all of our pedagogy students are excellent performers as well. This is done for a number of reasons. Number one, it makes you a better teacher. But number two, and not necessarily in that order, the common trajectory of a student, of a dancer's life, is when they're young and strong and going out in the beginning of their career, they're going to be performing like crazy, getting a lot of information through the act of performing, through the practice of the art. And then later on in their career, a lot of them will be teaching. Many of us teach and perform at the same time, but that's a normal trajectory. So that makes a lot of sense, this performing and learning to teach at the same time. Many of our students will start off as performing majors, and then they'll turn over in their first year. They'll see what a good deal that ballet pedagogy program is. They get both advantage of both performing and teaching, and they'll shift over. It's very easy to do. Also, I have to say, and I'm sure these 3 dancers will affirm this, the learning of how to teach makes you a better dancer. You learn so much more about the science and the art of what we're doing that applies directly to your own performance. Obviously, if you have to teach somebody, you have to know it twice as well as just knowing it for yourself. So these young ladies are all examples of that. As I said, we're a tightly focused program. There are only between 40 and 50 dancers in the program at any given time. We only take in people who we think are going to be a good fit. We don't have any quotas we need to capture. So if we have 20 dancers we're really interested in and are really interested in us, we'll take them all in. If that year there are 10, our class size for that year will be 10. And that relieves a lot of pressure for us, because we get to make sure that we get that right fit. And the right fit is super important for us. Our students learn a lot from each other, and they learn a lot from the faculty. And there's so much communication and interaction throughout all levels of the program that everyone is learning from one another. And that's really important for us. That's the way the profession works. That's the way our program works. We have a very strong basis in ballet. Everyone takes ballet every day. That's followed by some partnering or some point work or men's work, maybe variations. There's a little break, and this is the normal schedule, which of course we're not on. And then after that lunch break, we'll come back, we'll do our contemporary work, classical modern work, and then we go into 2 hours of rehearsing every day after that. After that takes you to about 4:30 in the afternoon, and then it's your time to go experience all the riches of the university itself. So you have all of those fantastic courses in the university about anything you're curious about. And Kylie, Sydney, and Marielle can fill you more in on that. We have dancers who are minors in everything from communications to performing arts management to art history to forensic science or something like that. What is Mira major? Something like that. Criminal justice, right? Is that right, Mario? So a really wonderfully diverse scope of interests alongside dance. I don't say outside of dance because I think all of these interests make you more interesting, more complex as a human being, and that makes you more interesting and complex as a performing artist. So all of these things contribute in one way or another to your work as a performing artist or a teaching artist. I don't see any questions coming up, so this is your cue. Ask some questions, and we'll get to them in a little bit. But right now, I'd like to go to these dancers, these people who are the true experts of the program because they live it every day. And I'd like to, if you don't ask them some questions, I'm going to ask them some questions because I love to do that with them. A great deal of our classes are about asking and answering questions. Their questions to me as a professor, my questions to them as aspiring artists. So let me fire away. I'm going to start with Sydney. And I'm going to ask Sydney, why did you choose to come to the Hartt School?
That's a wonderful question, Mr. Pierre. I
Thank you,
decided to
Sydney.
go, I decided to come to the Hartt School based off my audition. The audition started off with an interview with who is now my contemporary teacher and my senior solo mentor, which is a freaky full circle moment. But I really valued how the faculty wanted to get to know me both as a person and as an artist, and just that wonderful dynamic that is both. And it just made me feel special, and it was a wonderful experience.
Great. Great, great, great. By the way, none of these answers are scripted. This is all off the cuff. So they're sweating. They don't know what I'm going to ask them. So next I'm going to go to Marielle. Marielle, tell us a little bit about where you came from and what your experience has been like now that you're a senior. Oh my gosh, how did that happen so quickly? What has been your experience of the Hartt School over these 4 years? What have you done both within the Hartt School and maybe some of the things outside that have been made possible for you through your connection to the Hartt School?
Okay, well, I'm a senior now, as Mr. Pierce said, and throughout my years here, let's just say that I feel like we've all been doing everything, and we've been doing a lot. Like Mr. Pierre mentioned, we take classes in music, we take classes in dance pedagogy, modern. We take a lot of really extensive amount of repertory, and our faculty, and that's to thank our faculty. Like we have Nina Watt and Miki Orihara, and of course Mr. Pierre, and a lot of great faculty that bring all these repertory pieces into our program that we can use as opportunities to develop all these different techniques like Limon and Graham and all that stuff. And of course we take ballet and point every day. But throughout my 4 years here, I have to say that there hasn't been a moment when I haven't been doing anything. I'm always busy, which for some people might be a lot, but for me, it was a really good thing because I really got to exercise my craft, and I didn't know that I wanted to come in and study pedagogy. I actually, coming in and talking to some of the upperclassmen as a freshman, they told me the pedagogy program, it's great, it's not that different from the performance track. And so I decided to take on that extra challenge, and it was very beneficial. Like Mr. Pierce said, I've been learning a lot by watching my teachers, by watching my peers, and then transferring everything I see to myself. So I feel like from my freshman year up until now, everything's come a bit full circle. I'm starting to connect the dots and see things with a different eye, and connecting it to the world outside of Hartt, which is helping me, which is helping me see into my future and kind of put me on a track on where I want to go after here.
Great. So we do have one question here, which I'm going to try to take a stab at an answer, and I might ask one of you to help me, Sydney, Kylie, or Marielle. Heather is asking, if you're focused on ballet pedagogy, what other programs did you look at, and why did you choose this one? What makes it stand out? That's a great question, Heather. I do want to clarify one thing, and that is that we are not focused only on ballet pedagogy. As I said, we have the dance performance track too, which it breaks down roughly half and half. There might be a few more, depending on the year, a few more in the ballet pedagogy, but it usually breaks down to about 50-50. So although the focus of this last couple minutes has been on the ballet pedagogy program, that was just to tell you a little bit about its uniqueness. So Kylie, if you could answer, let me just read that question back to you again. If you're focusing on ballet pedagogy, what other programs did you look at, and why did you choose this one? What makes it stand out? Kylie, that one's for you.
Awesome. So I kind of going into looking for schools for dance, I was like, I want to dance. I love teaching. I wanted to continue to study that. And then I was looking at other programs like Point Park University, for example. That program was just too big for me. I'm someone like, I'm very academically inclined, so I like being able to like have a conversation in my academic classes and really feel like I'm bouncing ideas off with the teacher and having true, genuine discussions where you're not just another face in the crowd, where like you're actually getting that communication, building those bonds that's going to help fertilize yourself or your growth as a like teacher too. And like Mr. Pierce said about the pedagogy program too, it really appealed to me that I was able to do all, like I've performed every single semester at Hartt, and the fact that you're able to do all of that, and then the ballet pedagogy is something on top of it. I mean, Marielle said this too, like the idea of being busy, you're constantly pursuing something and you're constantly working towards something, and it's the best of both worlds. So for me, I guess, to put it in a nutshell, I looked at like Point Park University, for example, and I like the size of Hartt better because I feel like I'm really able to connect with my professors and get that one-on-one help to really figure out what I want to make out of my career and like my degree. And also that you don't have to choose. So many programs I looked at, it's like, do you want to choreograph? Do you want to be ballet focused? Do you want to be modern focused? Like you can't do everything. So being able to do everything, we're all ambitious people, so we like to do a lot.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. Marielle, there's another question here I'm going to throw back at you. It was a little part of the question that I asked you, and that is, what type of studio did you come from, train in, before going to Hartt?
Before coming to Hartt, I used to live in Houston, Texas. I went to what is now the Kinder High School for the Performing and Visual Arts, or KHSPVA as we call it, very long title. And it was actually a performing arts magnet high school. So there were departments, and it was also a very small school. Like my graduating class was no more than 276 people for just our senior class. And that is really small compared to other high schools in the metropolitan Houston area. But we have dance, we have vocal studies, instrumental studies, and even mariachi back then. They have arts, visual arts, and performing arts like theater and dance, of course. Back at KHSPBA, we took ballet every day and modern every day, sort of around like what we do here at Hartt. So I feel like for me, Hartt was a step in the right direction, because coming from that smaller artistic background to a more professional collegiate level program was clear to me. Like I remember taking Mr. Pier's ballet class my junior year when he went to the first time to the high school, and I remember loving his class, loving the way he taught it, and I'm like, this feels so familiar to me. And then taking it again senior year, actually, as my audition, really showed me that, okay, so that was a deciding factor. I want to go here. And it just so happened that the same day we took the audition, I got my acceptance letter from the university. And so I was like, okay, this is a sign. This is where we got to go.
Great, great, great. Here's another really good question. Thank you, Mario. That's great. So how many performances do you typically do a year? I'm going to answer that part of it, and then I'm going to pass the next part off to the three of you, and you can all jump on it. We have 4 performance series, major performance series in the year, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring. The first one that happens is the senior production. And this is a production that is guided by and administered by the seniors. They do all the choreography for the group works. They cast their own dancers. They design their costumes, their lighting, the advertising, the marketing, all the publicity. They also go out in the world and find a professional choreographer to create a solo on them. And that's all presented, fully produced performances. One group goes in the fall, and the other group goes in the spring, where they also have the option of working with a composer from the music school to create a collaborative event. Then we have the main stage concerts, which are composed of professional choreographies. It could be a guest choreographer, and we have 2 guest choreographers a year that come and work with us in the winter term, the spring repertory project. This is a project where 2 professional choreographers come and work before school classes start with dancers that they've selected in the fall. They work for 2 weeks, all day long, creating repertory on their group of dancers. We have a warm-up class in the morning. Everyone goes into the studio, works all day. We drag ourselves home at night. We get up in the morning and we do the same thing all over again for 2 solid weeks. It's very intense. It's very rewarding, and it's very much like a professional situation. Those pieces are then performed again in the spring, or performed in the spring, later in April. This happens in January. And in that interim, there's a faculty rehearsal director who's been in all those rehearsals, knows the piece, has learned the piece, and then continues to guide the students deeper and deeper into that world. In the fall, we have selections of classic repertory. It could be classic modern dance, Graham, Limon. We've had Paul Taylor repertory here. Some of the faculty are professional choreographers, and they work with our students creating new works. And that could be in ballet, it could be in contemporary dance. We do works of Balanchine, Bournonville, Petipa, Anthony Tudor, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of our mix of our repertory. Now, the second part of this question, I'm going to pass off to the 3 of you. It's perfect for you. As seniors, how does the faculty help you to know where you want to go next, either in the field or not? Go for it. They're all laughing because, well, they'll tell you why. Sydney, you had your hand up. Go for it.
Well, one way we kind of figure out how we're going to do post-grad life is through a class taught by Mr. Peer called Dance as Profession. We recently started working on our cover letters that we will send out to artistic directors, nonprofit organizations, dance studios, just as drafting. We also started work on ice-breaking conversations with scary, intimidating people like artistic directors. And we're working on our reels. It's just prepping us for when audition season hits and to be the best prepared to present our best work. Also, throughout our 4 years, we have panels with all of our faculty members. It's just a one-on-one time with you and all of your faculty sitting at a table. And during that time, you talk about summer programs that you're interested in attending or suggestions that they might have for you. And that time has been really beneficial for me of finding summer programs to attend, creating those contacts in the field that I can follow through on after I graduate.
Great. Do either of you have anything to add to that, Kylie and Marielle? Yeah, Kylie.
Going off of what Sydney said, that dance as a profession class has been super beneficial because not only are we gaining those skills like writing cover letters, putting together dance reels, doing our elevator speeches, but we're also like looking a little bit deeper and saying like, what are our core values and researching what are some dance companies that might align with that. Oh, I'm really interested in going to grad school for movement therapy. What are some good college programs? Like, and our faculty like have been everywhere. They've done it all. And so they have a lot of really great connections too, where you'll like mention like, oh, I'm kind of curious about this. And they're like, oh, I know so-and-so in this company. Let me reach out to them. I think it would be right up your alley. So that's really helpful too. And just the faculty's doors are always like open. I know COVID right now, things are a little bit different, but they're always happy to talk about things with us, like what we want to do in our future, what are some summer intensives, like Sydney said, that we want to do. And that's always really beneficial to have that conversation constantly going and have our dance academics help to build our background in that too. We take courses like dance administration, technology, and dance. We learn about some production elements too. So you kind of get a taste of everything over your 4 years. So then in your senior year, you can kind of be like, okay, I have all these tools. I'm discovering more about myself. Now, what can I do with it? And it's really great.
Kylie, could you talk a little bit about your work with Prison Project? Because that's also something that could lead to a career path for you. And it's something that is really remarkable and represents another aspect of what we do at Hartt, I think, really, really well in all the departments.
So thank you for asking that. I love talking about the Prison Project. It's like one of my favorite things. So the University of Hartford, there's a program called the Prism Project that's at a couple different universities throughout the country. And pretty much what it is, it's a music and dance focused program for students with exceptionality. So students in the community are allowed to sign up for this program. And then we get volunteers from a lot of like music majors, dance majors, and even people outside of those majors too that are interested in the arts will come and join too. So it's a great way to interact with people of different majors and things like that. But we come together and we pair all the students with the exceptionalities up with a buddy, and they really get to bond with that buddy over the spring semester. We meet every Sunday to work with our buddies on our music and dance activities to prepare for a show at the end of the semester, where these kids have that special like spotlight moment where they can get up on stage and show off everything that they've learned. And like they just grow so much over the period of time and get so close and open up with their buddies. It's so awesome to see. And I had the wonderful opportunity to be the dance director of the program for this past year. So I collaborated with the music director of the program along with Jackie Smith, who is kind of like in charge of the whole thing. And we developed a theme we wanted to use for the performance and what songs we were going to use and what we were going to focus on, like how do we gear these classes that we have every week with these kids to help them really grow and gain a lot from it. So that was a really great experience because I'd never really, well, I had been a buddy the year before with the Prism Project, but other than that, I haven't had a lot of experience working with students with exceptionalities. And it's just so amazing to see how much the arts and especially dance really like helps them to break out of their shell and they can accomplish so much. So that's a really great opportunity that we have at Hartt too. So definitely take advantage of that if you come here.
There we go. Great. Thanks for those answers. There are so many wonderful questions here. Let me try to get to as many as we can. What are auditions going to be like this year? Are they in person? That's all going to depend on COVID, the way things are looking right now. I doubt that we will have in-person auditions this year. We're looking at several different ways of introducing ourselves to dancers and getting dancers to introduce themselves to us. One is through recorded auditions, which we've had a system of doing for many years. So that all the instructions on that are on our website. We will also be having some streamed auditions, and we're getting together tomorrow actually to work on dates and protocols for that. So that will be something like a certain number of dancers will be in a format like that. We'll have our dancers as demonstrators. Our teachers will lead you through a series of different genres of dance, ballet, some modern, some improvisation. You'll be able to send in your solos, which we can take a look at ahead of time. And then, of course, we'll also have that interview that was mentioned earlier, which for us is super important. In fact, our auditions have traditionally always started with the interview. That's unique. And after the interview, we take everyone into a room, and you all get the chance to audition us. We perform for you. We do a question and answer like we're having right now. We'll keep that aspect in our online auditions this year. It's a time for us to show you who we are and to help relax you a little bit as an auditioner so that we're all comfortable with just sharing who we are as dancers and what we do. And from there, it makes it a much deeper, much more profound relationship right off the bat, because we're all just sharing who we are, and that's what you want to get to in an audition. And that's what we want to see as directors of the school. How is this group going to mix together? How does this person fit in with what we're doing? I always like to say there are a lot of other good schools out there. Some of them are almost as good as the Hartt School. And your job and our job is to get the right fit. Make sure that fit is right. So that's what our audition process will be like, kind of in a nutshell. And there will be more details about that coming out. A couple of questions here about, do dance and music theater departments overlap? Yes and no. We share a building. Sometimes we share productions. We did a few years back a wonderful production of On Your Toes, which was half dance program, half theater students. Sometimes theater majors, if their schedule allows, are taking class with us. If they also have to audition to make sure that their dance level is high enough to be, that is compatible with what our dancers are doing. And sometimes our dancers go and take a tap class or a jazz class if they have room in their schedule and enough gas still left in the tank at the end of a long day of dancing with us. So those opportunities are there. We've had dancers that go to music theater and take voice lessons from time to time. So yes, there is some overlapping, there is some interaction. Are music theater or acting majors allowed to audition for dance productions? No. We start with the dance majors. All the dance majors are cast. Then we go to minors who are allowed to audition. No guarantee that they will be cast or not, but they're allowed to audition. And that fills up all of our spaces. So the music and acting, the music theater and acting majors have plenty to do. So their schedules just wouldn't make that very feasible. How many dancers audition each year compared to how many are accepted? That varies from year to year. I usually see 300 to 400 dancers in any given year, and that's going year round. I was auditioning dancers in the summer, the spring, through the fall, through the winter. It's just ongoing. So I see a lot of dancers throughout the year, and 300 to 400. And our incoming class, as I said earlier, might be 10, it might be 20. Those are the numbers. How many dancers did that one? Lots of questions come in. How many non-dance classes, academic classes are you usually taking each week outside of the studio time? So, all right, this is a BFA. So roughly speaking, any BFA program, 2/3 of your program will be in the studio, taking dance curriculum. 1/3 will be in the university, taking gen ed or all university curriculum, whatever that particular university calls it. So that's basically true with us, but I will let our experts in taking classes at the University of Hartford answer that question. Marielle, I think you're up.
Okay, so it really depends on the year that you're in and what you've decided to do with your time here at the university. Like, I know that Sydney and Kylie both have minors, and they have to take on top of their BFA classes and the academic classes that the university requires for your BFA. They have to take all these other classes that will they have to take all these other classes that will fill into their minors, and that takes up, I would say, if in a regular schedule, our day would end at 4:30 every day. Your freshman year is a little different. You will end at 4:30 Tuesday and Thursday, but after that, it's 4:30 every day. So usually you'd have a class at 5 or at 7:30, and it could go to 9. That all depends on the schedule that you are looking for, or the credits that transferred over from your high school. But typically in a week, in your 5-day week, you could take 2 to 3 academic classes with the university. And that's on top of all of our dance academic classes that we have at 8 a.m. every day, or on the days assigned, depending on the year that you're in.
Great. Great. Maggie, just give me 5-minute warning when we're getting close to time, because you know us, we'll talk all night long if you let us.
You're at about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
We
Okay.
can run over.
I think
But we did say 5:45, and we're at about 5:35.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Here's another question. If auditions are online or recorded, what would you be looking for that's different than a live audition? Well, we wouldn't be looking for anything different. We'll be looking for the same things, but we'll be looking for them in a different way. So the format will be different, but the basic things that we're looking for will remain the same. Something that Bill Gates said a little while ago that I think makes so much sense. Everyone's talking about what's going to be different in 10 years, what's going to change in 5 years, what's going to be different next year. And his philosophy is looking at what's going to be the same. This kind of gets us towards universal truths, and that's kind of where I like to live, because then if you've got those universal standards underneath you, you can go anywhere and you can adapt to any kind of change. And since nobody knows what's going to happen next, you better be adaptable, and you better have those basic things under your belt. So here's what we're looking for in any audition, be it recorded, be it live streamed, or be it in person. We're looking for someone who's curious. We're looking for someone who's passionate about dancing, and we're looking for someone who's passionate about learning. You can be the hottest hotshot in the world, but if you've already convinced yourself that you know it all and you're not curious and you're not really interested in learning, then there's no point in you being here. You can, however, be a developing dancer, an aspiring artist, and realize that you don't know everything yet, but you're so curious, you're so driven to learn more about it. That's the kind of dancer we're looking for. Of course, you have to have a certain technical ability to start where we start. We don't start at 0. We start with intermediate, truly intermediate dancer, and then go up from there. We only have 4 years. We can't teach you from scratch to where we need you to be in 4 years at this program. So there's a certain technical level we're looking for. We're looking at how you interact with other people, how you interact with the material that the teachers are giving you. Again, that's sort of that curiosity component that's really important to us. In your solo, we're looking at, are you a committed performer? Do you have an idea of what you're trying to say that you can really commit to and try to share with an audience, whether it's through a video screen or live or through recording? Can you really commit to that idea? Are you really sure of it and clear about it and able to communicate that to someone else? That's something that's difficult to teach, although we do have a wonderful class in performance techniques given by Nina Watt, who is a Bessie Award-winning modern dancer and a real driving force in the Limon Company for many, many years. One of our 2 Bessie Award-winning professors. The other is Miki Orihara from the Martha Graham Company, principal dancer with Martha Graham for 27 years and still dancing remarkably well. So, if I say so myself. So those are the kind of things we're looking for, and those are kind of universal things that are going to take you through a lot of pivots and a lot of uncertainty. This is what's certain. You need to have a technical standard. You need to be curious. You need to be committed. You need to be passionate. Let's see if there are some other questions I can get in my remaining. No open questions. We did it. We did it. And if Marielle can get rid of that mosquito that's bothering her, we still have time for some more questions. I have a point of clarity here from Maggie, who advised me that the first round of auditions are all recorded right now, which is true. Those are all, that's just the recorded audition. I would recommend that you all go to our website, look at what's required for a recorded audition, get it set up, and then when we get the live stream auditions up and running, you'll have a choice. You can either send in your recorded audition or you can come to the live stream, or you could probably do both. I don't know. We're making this up as we go along these days. Someone said it's like flying an airplane while you're still building it. And that's kind of how we feel. And we're really good at it. We're still in the air. I have to say, we're doing pretty well. So yeah, Maggie, do you have a question?
I do. I actually just have a little bit of information for students that might be helpful about starting this application process, because Perfect. It is a little different this year, but I do advise heading to the website. I'm sure that you get plenty of emails from the University of Hartford. Maybe click open a few of those about starting your application. You'll apply through our online portal, and what will happen is you'll start your application. You can also start it through the Common App if that's easier. But right now we're waiving all fees through November 1st. So if you want to save yourself a little extra money, I know those college fees do start to line up and add up. Start your application now. Go in tonight, put your name in, just so that you've started in the system. We are waiving those fees. We are starting with, because we are keeping the mind of health and safety of our dancers. They live in a little pod right now, basically, and they only interact with each other. We're trying to be very mindful of their safety, and so we are starting everything with recorded auditions, and that is on our website. Stephen just put his email address in the box. I'll add mine as well if you'd like to reach out. I'm Assistant Director of Admission here at the Hartt School. But I just wanted to kind of wrap that up really quick before we got into another engaging story in our last 4 minutes.
4 minutes, 4 minutes. Well, I just want to invite you all to reach out, contact us. And this is the same with any place you're going. I was just on a college panel on Saturday, and I can't emphasize enough getting in touch with someone at the university, at the college, at the school you're thinking about. Get in touch with as many people as you can. Have conversations with them. Ask questions. Do research. My advice, I was asked to give, I don't know, what do you call it? Soundbite. Figure out what you want to do and go do it. That's my soundbite. Any of our other panelists, do you have any last words to leave these people with? Kylie.
Just a little advice going into your audition process. I know everything's a little bit different this year, but stay true to yourself. Don't go to a school and try to get into like the school that has the name because it's NYU. Like you need to take a look and be like, what program is going to be the best for me? Which really draws my interest? Which is going to give me a wide array of skills that I can have a plentiful and fulfilling career after I graduate. So just take a minute to like self-reflect a little bit. How do you feel? I know it's different. We're not in person as much, but do your research, check out different programs, and just be true to yourself.
That's great advice. Your search has to start with yourself. And then you get to figure out what you want to connect to. That's a lot of fun. So Maggie, I think we're at our end point here. Unless you want me to sign off or count down, does a ball drop or?
There's no ball drop. I mean, we're
Oh.
theatrical, but we're not that theatrical.
Great.
Are there any, I know that we have one last question about the Common App versus the Hartford portal and the Q&A, and I'm just reaching out to our Bates House, Miss Robin James, who will answer that for us.
Yep. So there isn't a separate application. We only have one application this year, which is a little different from years past. So if you want to complete the Common App, feel free to do that. You will receive, whether you do the Common App or the application in the Hartt portal, you will receive an email from us regarding what additional materials you do need to submit after we've received your application. So once you send that in, about a day or two later, you'll get an email from us listing all of that information for you with instructions on how to upload.
Thank you, Robin. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you and getting to know you a little better. Yeah? And actually contact any of these people, Sydney, Kylie, Marielle. They have a lot of the inside information and they will deliver it to you truthfully and honestly, no spin. They'll give you the real deal. So sometimes it's helpful to contact someone closer to your own age instead of someone like me. Good. Get as many perspectives on it as you can. It's a big decision. I understand that. It's a big decision. So we're here to help you make the right decision for you. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna end the meeting. It seems like one attendee left. So thank you, and thank you.
Thanks,
Well,
Maggie.
I'm
Thank
sure-
you, Robin. Thanks, Marielle and Sydney and Kylie. You guys are fantastic. You're the best.
Have a good night, everyone.